three possibilities of the finances, either the state, for a private sector, or individuals. And do you actually see any of those three parties? I mean, yeah, companies are closing DB schemes at the moment, and I can't see any appetite for the next sector.
But in insurance type arrangement that individuals contribute to, if you would say 20 years old and somebody said if you pay £20 a month into this policy, then if you need care in retirement, you'll get it. That's an attractive idea because it's a small risk but it's a small premium.
I can't see
If
it
you-
happening.
If you're so young, by the time you've got a lot of time for that money to be invested by the time you need it. The minute you're older, the policy starts when you're 60. You're much more concerned about it and you're prepared to pay a higher premium for that perceived additional risk. So it ties in quite nicely with the amount of time that you've got to fund it.
But how many 20-year-olds opt out of
young people don't want to put money into pensions because they've got a very high discounting factor. I think retirement's ages away. Why not say now?
Again, I think it's a story we probably completely underestimate our own exposure to these risks. You know, it will not happen to me.
I think as well the issue I think as well is that a system like that probably isn't going to work unless there's some compulsion, which means the state has to get involved. And you know, is it that we need to have something like Medicare in the USA, where everybody contributes to something, is forced to contribute to something, and in return they get a benefit. I mean, I don't know if that's...
I think that's where it's going to go. I don't think employers have got an appetite for it. I don't think individuals will save for it. At the end of the day, it's going to have to default back to the state.
To at least trigger the thing to provide that measure of compulsion. Which, I mean, I'd be interested to know how did we evolve to the position that we had to insure our motor cars. Was there a period where everyone was going around, you know, creating, you know, lots and lots of negative situations, and it became politically acceptable to compel people to insure?
There is one big difference, and that is that health costs are like almost every other cost. Any other cost in life is not linked to how much you earn. You can drive a bigger car if you earn more, so you pay more in insurance. Your health costs are almost the opposite. The poorest people are the ones who have the biggest health costs. And I think there's a political issue in that what we're talking about is in many ways a form of socialism.
Yeah.
We're talking about the rich paying for the poor. And that barrier has got to be got over. And I think that's going to be quite difficult to do. I think there'll be a lot of, say, richer people who lead very healthy lives, eat organic food, go to the gym, don't smoke. They will not want to pay for the person who lives on benefits, smokes and drinks, and that's the person who needs time with care.
But I think this is why, if we have a working party, if we can demonstrate that the person who eats organically and everything else is just as at risk of something like Alzheimer's, and they are, then...
Perhaps Alzheimer's, but there's lots of other
areas. But that's the
well.
worst thing at the moment.
Okay, but in principle, the people who earn more are less likely to be care homes. They're more likely to have family that can look after them. They're more likely to have savings. And I think that's the crux of it.
I think you need, when we start doing statistics, to put people into tranches. Because when we say the people who earn more, it may, you know, there's the middle classes, upper middle classes, whatever the new terms are for the different areas. But when it comes to paying for care homes, you've got to be phenomenally wealthy to be able to afford care homes for elderly people. And if it's the people who have been earning more who are living longer, because the poor, there are still statistics that show that the poor die younger, then they are going to need this funding as they get older in life.
I think the other point I wanted to make was you mentioned that the status quo, letting nothing happen, isn't the solution. But in the US, we actually have a situation where you have millions of people uninsured. You have the best hospitals and doctors, but people who actually don't get the medical treatment they want. So the status quo of nothing happening is actually quite a real possibility. Because there's a country on Earth, the richest country on Earth, where there are people who die because they can't afford the cancer drugs. So it's entirely possible that's the scenario we'll end up with.
And in fact, your point there about drugs, and Geraldine, you said, you know, dementia is a really big issue at the moment. What we've become very good at is keeping people alive. I mean, the longevity figures that we're dealing with are largely driven by the fact that we're actually very good at keep prolonging the end of life, so that people with Alzheimer's or whatever probably have a longer period under care with that because of the drugs treatment and the things that go on. And so we've actually got significant inflation in long-term care costs because of the period of time that you will be kept alive when you're suffering from things that necessitate long-term care. And that may not be true in the US, where people who can't afford the best drugs actually don't get the best health treatment, and therefore you don't have that linkage you get out of an NHS system. Well, it's true. It is true that and poor American people do not get access to the same life extension that we do.
Do you think there's a longer period of impaired life?
I don't know what the data is, but I believe that that drugs treatment has extended disproportionately the impaired period of life as a result of the cocktails that we can take in our 80s.
This is another area where actuaries should be involved and are not being involved. Well, not to a great extent being involved. I mean, we have NICE deciding which drugs to use or not, but on a very arbitrary basis. And, actuaries could use statistics to determine which drugs should be used and which shouldn't. And to improve the quality of life, I certainly am very anti, so that you know where I'm coming from, I'm anti-euthanasia, but to actually prolong life when, with artificial means, I'm not sure what the position is. But if we have a working party, we would have somebody with an ethics background who could then input as well. And that's why I say we do need to get people together and brainstorm. And again, going back to, I went into one of the hot topics session. I can't remember the name of the speaker from Reddington, where he was talking about crowds and getting lots of people together thinking. And this is just what we need to do with a brainstorm to get let me still call it a pension solution, but something that is going to be the thing that comes after the pension design that we've got at the moment. It worked very well at the time it was put into place. It is not working that well now, and I don't think it will work in the future, but we do need something to supersede it. And the people to come up with the ideas and the shape will include actuaries, because even sitting here we're saying, what are the statistics? We need to know the statistics before you can go forward on any other way, and we need to know which are the sensible statistics, not spurious